On one hand, we have incredible potential on offense, but on the other hand, severe depth concerns remain. For the shoe, we have two big news updates to cover today. First, a major national network just named one of our backup quarterbacks a preseason loser after he completed just 3 of 9 passes for 24 yards this weekend. Also, a talented slot receiver on our roster is becoming a massive late-round fantasy target because a recent departure left 111 targets wide open for the taking. I will reveal both of these players shortly. Please stay until the end, hit like, and subscribe to our channel. Anthony Richardson completed 3 of 9 passes for 24 yards during the Indianapolis Colts' 34-6 preseason loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Seeing our backup quarterback struggle like this is tough to digest, especially after he looked so sharp against New England just a week ago. CBS Sports labeled him a preseason loser for that second-half performance, where he took 2 sacks while operating behind an inconsistent line. Let's be real, while he received limited help from his pass catchers, this outing was a noticeable step back for a guy aiming to lock down that primary backup role behind Daniel Jones. Are we genuinely concerned about his growth, or are these just typical preseason growing pains? I am excited about his potential, but I also want to pump the brakes a little until we see his final snap counts. Will this performance define his status heading into the roster bubble? How does a backup handle such a volatile shift in production? Think about it this way. Anthony Richardson entered this training camp battle with legitimate momentum. Yet that recent 3 for 9 outing under the Atlanta Lights creates a massive ripple in the evaluation process. I suspect the front office views this as a vital pressure test for his mental makeup when the pocket collapses early. Does that specific lack of efficiency indicate a deeper schematic issue, or just poor protection? My concern here is the lack of rhythm, especially compared to the high-level poise he displayed against New England. Coaching staffs rarely tolerate inconsistency when setting the final depth chart for September. If he fails to rebound in the final preseason game, Chris Ballard may look to the roster bubble for alternatives. I want to see better decision-making, as anything less will surely complicate his spot. Now let's shift gears to a name I believe deserves a serious look on your fantasy roster: Josh Downs. After Michael Pittman moved on, we have a massive void in our aerial attack with 111 targets suddenly left behind for our pass catchers to absorb. ESPN fantasy analyst Eric Moody recently identified Downs as a prime late-round target for this 2026 season despite his 566-yard 4-touchdown campaign last year. Now here's the thing. Could he replicate his 2024 production where he secured 72 receptions on 107 targets? Moody certainly thinks so, currently projecting 110 targets for him, though I want to pump the brakes slightly until he earns that consistent rhythm again. He remains a standout in the slot, providing a reliable underneath option that keeps chains moving. Would you really bet against that target share at his current ADP? To me, he is severely undervalued right now. Targeting Josh Downs in the late rounds makes sense considering he functions as our primary underneath security blanket. Since the departure of Michael Pittman, those 111 available targets create a massive void that somebody must fill immediately. Does that kind of volume guarantee a breakout year for our slot receiver? According to ESPN analyst Eric Moody, the math supports drafting him early, despite the production dip we witnessed last season. And I'll be straight with you, there is legitimate risk involved because his 566-yard output in 2025 leaves room for doubt about his consistency. Other analysts are watching closely to see if he matches his 2024 efficiency, but I am somewhat cautious about crowning him too soon. The way I see it, he remains an undervalued asset if he nears his projected 110 targets, but he must prove he can handle that increased defensive attention. When you put both of today's stories together, the picture that emerges for the Indianapolis Colts shows a team relying on veteran leadership while searching for fresh playmakers. One is a struggle for consistency behind center, while the other is an opportunity for a young receiver to seize a significant role in our aerial attack. And here's why that's a big deal. Both storylines define our immediate future. We are watching whether our quarterback depth chart holds up under pressure, even as we count on specific targets to evolve. Does Anthony Richardson have the poise to overcome that Atlanta performance, and can Josh Downs truly absorb that massive target share? I want to hear your takes in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel for the shoe. I'll see you in the next one.